Hey, what's up, everyone? Brad Chmielewski here with episode 173 of Shatter The Vain. This week, I got SeanAustinO joining me to kind of talk about his new path into casting and get a little more insight at what happened at the Summer Unified Live Championships a couple weeks ago. I know we touched on it basically for the last two episodes, but wanted to get someone who was there, their thoughts on it, just how they thought all those games went, the experience. So it's really cool to hear his thoughts on it and see what he saw sitting in the audience. We also dive into maybe what's happening with Vainglory 8 and VIS this season, if he's going to be casting or not, where is he going to be, because he's got to be brushing up on all those 2.8 changes, understanding all the new camps, the healing flash, just who's strong, who's at the bottom. So we dive into some of that. And then we talk about some of the events that are also coming up with the Mobile Masters, Vainglory 8 starting, the new Churnwalker tease, just a lot of fun stuff happening this past couple weeks in Vainglory. Got to mention the Patreon page before we jump into this episode. That's over at patreon.com/Shatter The Vain. If you can support the show, that would be awesome. There's different levels there. I got some goodies. Need to add some new stuff, rework it. It's a little old maybe now. Gotta give it a little facelift. But yeah, check that out. But I appreciate everyone that listens, watches, supports the show either by subscribing on iTunes or on YouTube. And you know what? If you have a friend that likes Vainglory, likes podcasts, definitely recommend this show to them. That's how we continue to grow the fan base here and get the word out about Vainglory as well. Just building hype every week for the game. Well, let's do it. Let's jump into this week's episode 173.
Shatter the Vain.
This is the 173rd episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can all become better players together. Every week, bringing on people from the community, people that love the game, people that support it. And this week, I have Sean joining me once again. Welcome back.
Hey, Brad. Thanks for having me again. You guys can find me, SeanAustinO, on Twitter, all social media, pretty much.
Yeah, it's been, about April I had you on last time, so it's been a little bit of a while. So, and a lot's changed, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. So back then I was just doing streaming, trying to grow my Twitch channel a lot more. And it's crazy how much stuff has changed since then. So I think back then I was probably got swagger, and now I've actually risen to POA bronze at my highest. That was my last trophy from the summer season. Yeah, I've been learning a lot about the game. And what's actually been changing a lot for me and what's allowed me to have better gameplay is, number one, I found a really good team to play with, you know. And number two is I've been casting for VIS Pro, and doing those casts and just studying up more, listening to a lot of Vainglory 8 has allowed me to better understand the game and delve deeper into the meta, the gameplay, the hero perks, and like who's good right now to play, all that stuff.
Yeah, so you have to look at it a whole nother angle as you're casting. So you just pick up more knowledge, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you're not playing, when you're doing, and I've even done like practice casts just for my personal use on my Twitch streams, like with Nikki Tsunami from Ardent, the CEO. It's just like having a conversation with your friends, but then you're able to look, because you're not playing, you're able to look at everybody else's gameplay and see what they're doing right, what items they're building, talk about why they're building certain items, itemization, slot efficiency, even just the damage rotation between heroes in the group, and positioning, all that stuff. It makes an impact in my gameplay because I'm able to see, okay, how do I, as a captain, because that's what my main role, how am I able to position right now? Am I taking too much damage? Do I need to fall back, do a little damage rotation among the members of my team? all that stuff, man. It's just like so much. There's so much to consider in this game because being a MOBA, it's such an in-depth strategic game that Vainglory is.
Right. Yeah. So stepping back or step back then, like what made you dive into the casting world? Like why'd you make that change or direction, I guess?
Well, here's the crazy thing. So I live in the Bay Area and I live just across from the Lair. I live really close to Humanist, actually. I live like 10 miles. Yeah, I live like 10 miles away from him. So when, like, I think I heard him on another podcast, Time for Rolling. He was interviewed by Bleeko. And I actually I heard that he was from Northern California. I was like, oh, me too. So I just like, we had already met at VG Worlds. I hit him up on Twitter and I was just like, hey man, like, I think I live really close to you. Like, where do you live in the Bay Area? So we ended up like having coffee together. Okay. And we were just talking and I was actually more like thinking of the mentality, I want to grow my Twitch channel. He's a Twitch partner. What advice could he give me, you know? So as we were talking, having this powwow, this like conversation, he was just like, hey man, like, I could see you doing it, man. You're a clean cut dude. You seem to be like, you're well spoken, you're professional. So just go ahead and get your stuff together and we'll see if, you know, your reel could impress the people at SEMC. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, I never even thought about that. And it's funny because every time I'm like here at my in-laws, for example, here, I'm in LA right now. Okay. Every time I'm at my in-laws, I always watch Vainglory 8 on the weekends. So I've actually had friends over and some of my friends are in the entertainment industry and they're like, Sean, why aren't you up there like on that analyst desk? You should be there. Like, I want to see you up there, man. And I was just like, really? Yeah, I could try. And I used to work at a YouTube channel for 5 years. I pretty much did what Munchables did, but for TV shows. You know, we would work with major television studios and I would direct the conversation on the panel. So long, you know, kind of fast forward back to me in Humanist, you know, I just was preparing myself, getting real footage for myself to put a caster reel together. Mm-hmm. And once I had gotten some of my footage together, that's when the post went out on Twitter and all social media from SEMC and Vainglory Esports saying, we're looking for casters, submit your stuff. And I saw so many people even submitting before me, like a bunch of community members. It was crazy. And I was just like, oh man, everybody's submitting before me. Like, I'm not going to make this cut, you know? Yeah. So it's just a crazy, crazy thing, man. And since then I've gotten into VIS Pro. I've been able to cast with Denomine. Mm-hmm. And it's been an amazing, amazing experience, you know, and even just over the couple of weeks of casting that I did for my first time doing it, I was so nervous, tripping over myself, tripping over all my words, and going into the last time I casted, oh man, such a big difference. I was able to like easily communicate my thoughts and ideas, make really good points. And now me and Denomine are like buddies, you know, nice. Seeing each other over at the last event.
Yeah, if I was to cast, or like when you dive into it, like you do trip over all those abilities and words, because I know when I'm doing videos or streaming, you're focused on playing and then you have to remember who everyone is and what everyone happens. But when you don't have to play and you can focus on it, I think it helps you just kind of like, I guess, learn everything a little better, because you don't have to, you take yourself out of it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So then, as far as the VIS Pro, did you already get into that before you were submitting to work with Vainglory, or was that kind of like a separate thing that kind of happened in tangent?
Yeah, so it was kind of happening. I think it happened because I actually submitted myself for casting. So I actually had a conversation with, it's so funny. Like, I feel like just the way conversations happen, like with SEMC and everything, everybody's very like, it's professional, but everybody's like, it's casual at the same time. It's just like, right. Oh, I'm not used to this stuff, you know, like I'm used to like super rigid interview processes. And here, like from living here in LA and working with other people down here, so talking with, you know, like getting interviewed, then I was just easily thrown over. I was just like, was that the interview? It was just like it was kind of super quick. It was like what we're doing right now. It's like a Skype conversation, you know? So having that done, then I was connected to Dragonborn, Closet Nerd, everybody over at VIS. and I was. They set up times for me, and I was actually in Paris at the time too, so everything just happened so fast.
Oh, cool.
And and they were just like, "Hey, next week we're gonna be doing VIS Pro. Would you Would you be able to come in? What days are you available?" I gave them my availability, and I just jumped on, and
nice.
So it was pretty much after the casting reel that I submitted for the Vainglory casting application. Mm-hmm. That's where everything started to snowball, and that's where it is now.
Yeah, because Super Evil Megacorp, they work with Dragonborn and VIS on everything, so I'm sure they use it as a little bit of a testing ground. It is. So it's like, here, if you can do this, then we can kind of bring you on to the next level, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And there have been some really good new casters. For example, there's been La Tigress. She's been on VIS. There's also been Fawns too, and I think Envision was one for VGL, and I liked him the most out of all of them because he reminds me of like a soccer caster, like the way he just like says things so quickly. It's like he has really good talent, so I'm excited to see that guy more on VGL next season.
Cool. And then so I guess doing that kind of led you to the opportunity to cast here at the Summer Unified Live Championships, right?
Well, I wasn't actually casting there.
Oh, you weren't there. Okay.
No, I wasn't there. Yeah. So Denomine though, because I think Denomine, he's been casting for a while. Like I think he was just casting this whole last season. He got at least, like by my calculations, this is just an estimate. I'm like, okay, if he's been here for a whole season, like how many months has that been? And how many times has he cast? If he's been with VIS Pro every day, like 3 days a week. Or VIS League and Challengers. So he's probably casted around 70 something episodes, like 70 to 100 episodes. He is really good, right?
Yeah, no, it's funny knowing him for so long because he's been in the community for years. I need to get him on an episode here, but just to see his progression and now doing this, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's funny because he was wearing a Hammers jersey, and it says he was part of Hammers on his Twitter. See, I don't even know everything about him. I've like worked with this guy, being his co-caster, and then like seeing him in person too. And it's kind of like after Worlds, or not Worlds, but the Summer Championship with the after party, things get a little hazy.
Yeah, drinks involved. Yeah, it's all I understand.
Yeah, so it's just like, what did we talk about again? But I feel like I want to be able to have like coffee with Denomine and just like say, all right, dude, like tell me like about like your in detail past. Like, were you a pro player with Hammers? Like, I don't even know. Like, do you know all this stuff, Brad?
He was just a community member, and he's like a huge Glaive player. He did the Undersprawl with me and Val Ferris, and kind of, so he's just been around for a long time.
Yeah, that's right. I you know what? I think I just listened to your last episode, and you did mention that he did the Undersprawl with you. So I was like, oh yeah, that show. Okay.
Yeah. So you didn't cast at summer here, but you were there.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I was there, and I was like super involved, meeting with everybody. It's such a crazy experience. I was only there for 2 days, for Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
I had to do my day job during the week. So I watched as much as I could on Friday, or watched and listened to. But once I got there, oh man, it was so amazing. So I got there, said hi to Closet Nerd right away. Got in, said hi to Chancha. Of course, you know Chancha. You met up with him.
Everyone, I think, knows him at this point.
Yeah. You met up with him at one of the Halcyon Gathering events.
Yeah, in Portland.
And yeah, everybody's there, and it's so amazing. When I saw Denomine, man, I saw him, Bloodskis, and Denomine just straight up went for a hug on me, and Bloodskis and him made a SeanAustinO sandwich. I was just like, what? What's going on here? But everybody's super cool. Got to hang out with Nightwalker, Wolf Hands as well. Dowsy, me and Dowsy had such a great connection. I got really good advice from him how to improve my casting.
Okay.
And talking with Scoundrel too, like that. Just going out with everybody. I got to have drinks with Tasty Bacon. Just picking everybody's brain about the different parts of the community is such an amazing thing. And I got to hang out with managers too, team managers, Slow Dead, Savage Boy. Odds, we all had drinks together, like half half day through
when isn't
Saturday.
odds having a drink? So.
I know, right? Yeah. So it's a cool experience. Like, if anybody hasn't gone to a live event for Vainglory, please go. Especially if you're over 21, you can do a lot more. If you're really career oriented and you want to involve yourself in esports and Vainglory, get in there and do it, because you're going to be able to be exposed to the community and make, good connections with people. Just like, you're, just like hanging out with friends. It's like, oh man, like, these are all my online friends. And now I'm going to be like helping them grow this community more. Cool.
So, then you put a little vlog together. I saw that. That was great. It's fun getting those like behind the scenes, because we all get the really nice production value of SCMC, but then to get kind of what's happening like in the crowd and everything is really cool to see. We need more people doing that. So I really liked seeing that.
Oh, thanks.
Did it go as you thought? Did your predictions, did you think Cloud9 was going to take it or anything like that?
Well, I did. Okay, so with my brackets, I thought it was going to get down to TSM and Cloud9.
Yeah.
And of course, right? Who didn't think that? And actually, TSM got eliminated like much faster than I thought.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. But Immortals, man, coming out like of the Challenger Series and rising up throughout this championship is freaking amazing. Like, Dienzio is so talented, right? Yeah. But I did have. SK Gaming was like my top team that I thought for the Europeans would get up there, but they just, when they came in on the second day, they just got eliminated. I was just like, no, SK. But I actually did. I do temporary tattoos whenever I go to live events. There are these tattoos that last like 2 weeks, right? And I hand drew them. So I hand drew the SK logo, and I hand drew. Also, because I thought, okay, I think Cloud9's going to get up there, and their logo is a lot easier to do and cooler to do than TSM. So I did it on my right wrist. So I had like the NA team. I was just like, okay, all right, well, Cloud9 won. There's the proof right there.
There you go. That worked out.
Tattoo prediction.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then, so moving into this coming season, what's planned for your casting career? Are you still doing VIS, Vainglory 8? Anything you can reveal or let us know?
Well, there's nothing official yet. Just watch out on my social media, SeanAustinO on Twitter. I'm going to be like, if there's big news that happens this week for me, I will be announcing it. But there's like still like in talks. I'm still in talks with people over at SEMC and VIS, so we're going to see what happens soon.
But like you said, it moves fast, because we're like, is it a week or is it 2 weeks until Vainglory 8 starts? It's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up soon, and it's so crazy. I feel like we've had this whole week off, right? So I guess the players and everybody, the staff, only gets like this week off, and it's going to start up with the autumn season again. I'm really excited, because I've been like rewatching the old VODs and everything from Twitch and YouTube. Yeah. So it's just like, I need some new material, man.
Right. You got to stay practiced, right? You can't like take that time off, because then you got to be studying, I'm sure, 2.8 here and keeping up on what everything's going on.
Yeah, I still have some. The number one thing that I like looking at, I just like listening to the VODs over and over again, and I just practice the VODs, I emulate them, I try to better understand like what the casters are talking about. Also, I like to look at Scoundrel's videos, because him and Woodworking, they probably have made the most educational videos that I've seen on Vainglory. Sure. And Scoundrel's been really pumping out good stuff. Like the ones that I want to watch that I haven't watched yet are how to better sustain, use Healing Flask in 2.8. And I know that video's out there. I need to watch it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think that kind of leads us into some of the news that's been happening this past couple weeks. So let's dive into that.
Vainglory News.
So I guess first, let's just chat 2.8 for a minute and kind of dive into it there a little bit. Have you been playing it much? I know you said you've been keeping up and looking at these videos, or planning to look at them. Like, have you been playing it, or have you been taking the time off as well?
Yeah, I have been playing a little bit, not as much as I was for 2.7. For 2.8, everything's really different when it comes to healing and sustain. I feel like SEMC just wants more action to happen, so they want more kills, more deaths, right? It's not going to be so easy to sustain yourself with like stacking up on Halcyon potions like you could before. Right. So now you have that healing flask, and it's the only item that you have to heal, other than Fountain, of course. That the cooldown on that is ridiculous. It's 120 seconds, right?
A long time,
so that's pretty much 2 minutes that you're going to be without the health. Sure, it heals you a lot more, but this is where healers are going to be such a big part of this meta, and even like pseudo healing is really important too. Like pseudo healing meaning like getting fortified health or barriers of some kind, like Arden's barriers, super important when he drops in with those vanguards on you, to help you engage or disengage, especially early game.
Mm-hmm. I've been seeing a lot more Lyra and Adagio kind of coming out. Baptiste is definitely making a strong showing this time because he has that healing as well.
Yeah, him able to self-sustain is really important. And then to just, maybe throwing down his Ordain so that he can prevent the enemy carries from diving in on your team. That's very, very helpful too. So just damage minimization and any kind of sustain that you can get. Even Iron Guard contract, I feel like people think I think people felt like it was kind of falling off of meta. Like people would still get it. I would get it all the time. But now it could be coming back and having a resurgence of like, hey, first item to buy so that you can just keep healing up your team, with being a captain, hanging around with your jungler, hanging out with your carry, just get them that extra sustain from those minion kills, last hits.
Right, yeah. And I have been noticing it could just be where I'm skill tier at, but people are incredibly more aggressive now in that early game because you don't have the health. So if you can push any kind of advantage, you just start to snowball really hard, especially on heroes like Taka or people that can kind of jump in there and just do a ton of damage at level 1.
Yeah, and Taka's got that. Maybe people, instead of going for Chitin first ability on him, they may go for Kaku so that he can get that extra sustain, because he gets it. He can sustain a lot with that thing. Sure, it's not as much at the early levels, but once you get it higher up, man, he can fill up his health bar pretty much all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been. I still don't think there's been like a strong meta that's come out yet. It's only been 2 weeks, but we're still seeing people try a lot of things, and I think that's what's great about this update. Like, it just opened the playfield up to a lot more heroes. Like, it's pretty nice to see. So I love seeing that from Super Evil Megacorp.
Agreed.
And then also, I talked about this last week, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on about Iraqi leaving Gangstars and joining the analyst desk here at Super Evil Megacorp. How do you feel about that?
I'm so glad that Iraqi's going to be there, and it's so funny because he was on the analyst desk actually for Vainglory Worlds just briefly, I think for 1 or 2 games. But when they brought him in, I was like, dude, this guy is I think he could really have a future on the desk, and I even told him that in person there. He was just like, really? No, it's not really my thing. And look, it's happening now. It's just. This is like a recurring theme, like the Vainglory community, the esports community in general, everything moves so fast, right? Mm-hmm. It's been about 9 months since then. And it's like, all right, it looks like it's time for Iraqi Zora to retire. And where's he going? He's going to the desk. Since Sweej just left, he's over there now as COO of Gangstars, right? So we have him pretty much playing musical chairs now, right? We have Iraqi on the analyst desk now. I'm interested to see how he's going to be, what his analysis and breakdown is going to be, right? Because he's been a pro player for so many years now, right? Mm-hmm. Making the jump from being a pro player and just playing what you feel is right to being able to express it verbally for the audience and viewers to see, hear, and also understand and feel. It's going to be a different thing, even from being like a streamer like me to being a caster, you really have to explain things a lot differently. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm interested to see how it's going to be, and I'm interested to see his growth too on the desk. I want to see him there for a while, a good couple of years, I hope.
Yeah, and he brings a lot to the, desk because he's played on both the EU and NA side, so he kind of understands both those worlds a little bit, although they're not that different, but they do have slightly different play styles, so he can kind of comment on that a little more than maybe CJ could have.
Yeah, because Suijay was more of an NA player, right? The more early game aggression, which has been more successful, right?
Of course,
versus the late game scaling that EU's got.
So keep an eye out for probably more news from Iraqi. I know he hasn't said anything about it because it was just kind of spilled at the Unified Live Championships on the desk. They just kind of said it. We hadn't heard that he had announced it yet, so I'm sure we'll get some more info as this season starts.
There's a Goodbye Iraqi Zoro video that's on YouTube, and I don't know if you've seen it, Brad.
Yeah, I have.
Have you checked it out
that's
yet?
From Gangstars,
Yeah, it brought a tear to my eye a little bit. They go over some of his like best moments there. So yeah, I think everybody should check that out if you're a Gangstars or Iraqi Zoro fan.
Sure. I'll include a link to that post and that video in the show notes, so check it out. And then this week we got more news on Churnwalker, or like I guess it wasn't more news; it was just more of a tease, even more. It's like tease.
A lore tease, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually interesting because I don't know if is there written lore out there, or is that the only piece of lore that there is?
That's the only piece right now. So it's just the video. It's not even in the news section on the Vainglory website. So it's just living on YouTube and Twitter at the moment.
Oh, it is now. I just clicked on it from the news section.
Oh, it is.
Of the not the website, but on in the game app.
Oh, in the game app, yeah.
It's there. So I actually like the narration on that. Really good job. And we're all busy these days. We can't read as much as we want to, right? So to have some really solid voice acting, like with the voiceover from that Churnwalker video, really well done. It kind of reminded me of Darkest Dungeon a little bit.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I like seeing those videos more than reading them and everything. Although you pull out some neat stuff when you read it because you get to see everyone's names and kind of like can skim and be like, oh, they mentioned this person and that person. But yeah, that's cool. But what do you think of this guy from that teaser we saw?
Man, it's kind of okay. From the teaser that we saw over at the Summer Championship, that video, he looks pretty cool. He looks like he's going to be one of those heroes who can like grab somebody. Kind of, it's almost like the forced accord, but instead of like just dragging, it like sticks to you.
Right.
Maybe it could lock you down in place. Maybe he could pull you towards him if like I don't know, if you don't resist or something, or you don't keep going. I don't know. Like there's so many new mechanics that they could have with this hero that they could add in there. He looks pretty dangerous, and I hope he's going to be a little bit more tanky because he looks like he's got some armor on him too, right?
Yeah, it seems like he's made of pretty much all metal, so he hopefully is kind of, maybe he's like smaller, like model size, but kind of tanky as well. Usually you see like big heroes are tanky, so if you have a small guy that's kind of tanky, it like messes with your mind a little bit.
And because this guy, this Churnwalker, looks like he can grab people, right? And maybe hold them in place or pull them. He could go. People are saying he could be a jungler, but he could also go that captain utility route. If he has an ability like that, where he can have that crowd control, then he could go the way of Baptiste. You know how Baptiste is able to be flexed between jungler and captain, and even lane sometimes too, but mostly we see Baptiste as either a jungler or a captain. Those Ordains, the Fearsome Shade, can really have good crowd control over the enemy team.
Yeah, so I'm excited for more stuff. This looked like a part 1 of the lore video, so I'm sure there's another one. This dropped on Friday, so we'll probably see one maybe around Wednesday or another one on Friday. From Super Evil. I think this patch may come pretty quickly because they want the pros to be playing on it as soon as possible for the Vainglory 8. So yeah, they usually don't play on like that in-between patch very long. So it should be
I'm excited for it. I really want to get this Churnwalker guy and see what he can do.
Cool. So yeah, keep a lookout for all that. There was also news of Vainglory returning to the Amazon Mobile Masters. This is happening in the middle of October, so we're about a month away from that. Last year they did this similar thing where teams played. I don't remember all the details on it, but it's really cool that Amazon is doing this again. It kind of gives Vainglory just more showcase. I know there's more games involved this time, like mobile tanks, and I think Critical Ops might be in there too, but just a lot more stuff. So this is cool. Amazon is doing this. We'll probably see more of those Amazon coin deals kind of coming up. I know people kind of wait for those sometimes to grab a whole bunch of coins, especially for heroes like this Finn skin that are like $30 if you can get them at a discount. There you go.
Yeah, that would be really nice, man. Because it's kind of pricey right now for those. But the Pikuto Finn skin, I'm excited about getting that. If I can get if they release it for opals, I'm gonna jump on that even more. But I'm excited to see the Mobile Masters because number one, it's going to be in Vegas. It's like the last Mobile Masters was in New York, right? With the teams with like Cloud9 running that. Was it Cloud9 running the gauntlet? Or no, it was Rockstar Armada that was running the gauntlet. So they'll be running the gauntlet again. But but then at the end of the gauntlet, whoever the winner is, they're going to be running the gauntlet again, or doing round robin, against Cloud9, and I think it's going to be TSM, or it could be the other way around. I forget. But then there's going to be a round robin at the end. That's going to be very interesting.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, whoever wins the gauntlet. And then not only that, but there's $50,000 up for grabs.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
That's a huge deal. For one day, that is a gigantic deal, and that's why all these teams are getting involved. Like after some teams not doing so hot like we thought they would do over at the Summer Championship, this is a chance for them to redeem themselves and get some extra cash too.
Mm-hmm. Amazon's got a lot of money to throw at stuff, so that's pretty awesome. Hopefully we're about a month away from that. We may see an announcement around that time for the patch update 2.9, so there should be a lot of news around that, like early middle of October, so get ready for that. It's excited to see. The last bit of news is Vainglory ending the Vulcan beta. So this is basically the Android version of Metal. They were testing it. People were invited to try it out, especially on these Samsung devices. It was supposed to just be a better graphics experience. I don't know how many people were testing it or trying it because I mostly play on the iOS device, and the most people I know play on that as well. But from what I heard, it was looking nice and working. So hopefully them ending this beta is kind of signs that it's going to be coming officially into most devices that feature this. But I don't know. I never got to see it in action. I don't know. You play on iOS, right?
I play on iOS, yeah. I just started playing on a Kindle Fire HD recently, so that's like Android. But I don't think I knowingly tried out this Vulcan thing.
Yeah, but that it's ending. I guess it's just a sign. Hopefully, that it's being implemented and not just like that didn't work. Hopefully it goes that way. So cool. Well, that does it for all the news this past week. I got one more little topic, little forum static before we get out of here.
Forum static.
On the forums, I came across this post, and it was kind of, I think, a good one to chat with you about because it's about off-meta stuff. And I know as a viewer of watching any of the pros play, when they do something that's different and out there, you're just like so excited. Like it's just really cool, especially even like Captain Baptiste when Starboy busts that out. But this topic was about like your favorite off-meta build or hero. And one of them was kind of focused on this weapon rhyme that you can run into sometimes, and it's very niche-y. But I want to know if you had a favorite, or if you are prepared. Are you even prepared for when someone busts out off-meta thing when you're casting?
You know what's funny is, okay, well, when I was casting, we did see some kind of off-meta stuff. Like, we've seen Cruel with more, like, utility builds and maybe, like, one weapon-powered item. Yeah. I think the last thing I saw was Upon the Original busting out in VIS Pro with just, I think, only having a breaking point and Shiver Steel build with, like, all, like, defense and utility for the remainder. That's a crazy build because you really have to, that's a very niche build. You have to synergize with your team really well. You have to have it pre-planned and practiced beforehand. to be able to do something like that, because Cruel can get shut down too.
Yeah.
You know, I was reading about actually I saw the link you sent for the weapon power Rhyme build. Him having a poison shiv and like all this weapon power, that's going to be able to sustain him even more if he's got that fortified health, right? That's his heroic perk. He can root people and just continue to do lifesteal and mortal wounds on them.
Right.
That would be a crazy thing to see. Personally, for me, I'm not prepared for that kind of stuff. As a captain, main, I just usually do what I'm going to do. And my team, because I play with Vainglorious players, they usually shot call for me. Okay. So I'm just like, all right, man, I'm gonna build whatever you say, you know, and I'm just gonna keep you alive, you know, keep the carry alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Job. So you don't like to bust out maybe the tank Kashka or the tank Taka kind of out there, like they often don't work. They're fun, but they don't work. Yeah. And at that level, that Vainglorious level, people shut that down so fast. They're like, what? You're playing support Kashka? No, not happening. No, I can't do it.
I usually like to play Arden or Grace if I'm captaining, and they're tanky heroes, you know, so they can really survive and sustain your team a lot better. So that I can't do those niche picks where there's a squishy captain. The squishiest captain I can play is Lyra. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, if I want to try something different, I usually do enjoy like a weapon power Scarf. That's always kind of just funny to play because he has that great like crit animation, and it really doesn't work because his whole kit is CP. Those mages don't always work as weapon power.
Yeah.
They're just not built for it. But it's fun, and it's hilarious when you win because I think people get mad. I would get mad if I was playing against a weapon power Scarf and I lost, because it also throws your game completely off. You're like, I should be able to beat this so easily, and then you die, and you're like, no.
I personally, I know what you're feeling. Yeah, I personally like it when I'm playing. Like we just had a couple nights ago, we had some ranked matches, me and my team. And as soon as we see that the other team is building some kind of niche pick like that, off meta, we're just like, oh, GG. No, we got this. Let's just play the way we normally play, and we're going to win. We're going to snowball this game. No big deal.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, so if you have any thoughts on off-meta stuff, check out this forum post. If you're looking to play Weapon Power Rhyme, there's a really good link there as well. Some good ideas there. I think that's the one that maybe works the best, I want to say, right now. Cool. Well, that's going to do it for episode 173. SeanAustinO, thanks for joining me. This was great.
Thanks for having me, Brad. It's good to be back here on Shatter The Vain, and I'm looking forward to what's going to be coming for Vainglory in the autumn season.
Mm-hmm, cool. Where can people find you, get in touch, or look for this news about what's happening with VAS or Vainglory 8?
The best place to find me is on Twitter, SeanAustinO, SeanAustinO, and also I'm on Discord, SeanAustinO, #2579. You can go to my Twitch panels and you can find my Discord links through there. Just click on it and you can join the stream community that I have there. But those are best places to find me, and I'm also on Facebook. I post on there occasionally, and Instagram too.
Cool. Well, great. Everyone follow up. I'll include links in the show notes and the description, so check that out. And then Shatter The Vain's on Twitter @Shatter The Vain, website shatterthevain.com. All the episodes get posted there, links to the iTunes, Stitcher, the YouTube version as well, so it's all over there. And I'll be back next week with 174. Got to get Denomine on here, get some of these other casters that are showcasing their skills. But I'll let you get out of this hot car that you're in and get back to your day. And everyone, thanks for watching.
Let's get this over with.